Welcome to the Robes Away channel. Name is Mark. If you're a returnee, welcome back to the new noses on the channel. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully you subscribe, comment below. Love to get to know you. Today we are doing a test drive on another Zegna fragrance. This is a designer house. This one called Zegna Forte. This bottle was sent to me back in 2019 by a fellow fragrance reviewer, Chad from A Gentleman's Journey. I forgot to tag him on the last video. Hopefully I can put his link down below if you're interested in checking out Chad's channel. A fellow Canadian, an amazing friend and reviewer. He loves getting my take on fragrances that maybe he likes and he dislikes. He just likes to see what I think about them. This is one that I unboxed back in 2019 and gave my first impression on video, which was a lukewarm response, but that was only a part of the story. So now that I had time to wear it for a few days, let's see how this one does. Let's go under the hood. Let's take a look at some stats on this one. It was released back in 2010, so it's got a few years under its belt. Nose is Cécile Maton. Major notes to my nose, we have lavender in this one, honey, and tonka. So some solid notes here. Let's delve into this one. I am wearing Zegna Forte as my scent of the day today, but I want to remind myself of this introduction and then give you my thoughts of all my written notes from the past few days. And this one, they all can't be winners. You know, this is this is why you subscribe to my channel, is that I don't mind giving a fragrance a big fat 0. Am I saying this is a 0? No. There's a lot of so-so fragrances on the market, and then there's a lot of pretenders on the market. I feel like this one's a pretender. It smells very generic, plain and simple, basically. So what do I get? It starts off with citruses. The main citrus I get is lemon. It's a good amount of pink pepper and some ginger. So these are notes that aren't a lot of fragrances, and there's nothing here in this opening that stands out that says, oh, this one is unique in our designer game. No. The opening after that starts getting carried almost immediately by a tonka bean note. And it's a typical designer tonka bean. Like, it's not a very good one, honestly. You know, the House of Guerlain has this line called Ideal line that utilizes a tonka bean, and it does have multiple facets to it. And I can go on and on about tonka bean fragrances that some come out powdery, ambery, vanilla-like. This is just a tonka that is just sweet. That's it. It doesn't have much personality to it. It's a poor tonka bean note. There is some honey here, but again, it's missing some bite, if you know what I mean, and lavender. Now the lavender itself and tonka bean, those are more heavy than the honey, in my personal opinion. They're pretty heavy in the mid of this fragrance and really overshadow the honey note. The honey note isn't that good of a honey. Like, I've had some pretty good honey. Like, I'm thinking about a designer one. Cartier has a good honey note fragrance, but the name is missing right now. But at the end of the day, this is very much lavender and tonka bean centric. Sadly, the lavender itself, man, does it smell like a dryer sheet to me. It's synthetic to a fault. Poor lavender notes. If you've been subscribed to me since 2009, you know designer releases, if you're going to use a poor lavender note, you're going to smell like cleaner and stuff like. I just can't do it. I still can't. And in some fragrances, it just ruins the whole fragrance for me. And here it does. And then the tonka itself has no real personality. It has no discerning characteristics. It's just sweet. The opening overall isn't wow. It's not unique at all. It's safe though, and I could see the appeal to it, especially someone that's new to the fragrance game. But to me, this isn't a good opening overall, unfortunately for me. Now let's get into the dry down of Zegna Forte. And into the dry down, now the lavender takes almost a central position in Zegna Forte. It's big, it's punching, and so is the tonka. They're the 1-2 punch. Not much changes from the mid, and it's a very generic backbone. The tobacco and honey notes here are the standouts. If you start looking at the note breakdown, those are the notes that go, you know, honey, tobacco, yes. And if you're looking at that, to me, those two notes fell super flat on my skin. Tobacco nuances, honey nuances, none whatsoever. Well, I'm not saying none whatsoever. I do get a little bit of that honey, but that tobacco is very much missing. Personally, it has that, and it's compared a lot to Armani Code on the internet, and it really does have that Armani Code feel to me. It's fresh as a scent, with a little darkness to it, and then the darkness is just a fog of some sort, but it's not dark enough to be, you know, Armani Code I always felt like everybody thinks it's an evening night scent, but it's it's almost too light to be one of those. It's not dark enough to compete against the big boy designers, and that's where this thing falls flat. There is some big boy designer fragrances for night out, and this is just not fresh enough or good enough for office use. It's not dark enough to be a night out scent. It's a tweener of some sort. It can be, you know, a versatile scent that's kind of stuck in no man's land. That's how I feel about this one. Can it be a good starting fragrance that you only have one fragrance and this is it, and you got it in bargain bin for $15? Absolutely. For the price, absolutely. You're starting off, why not? It's a great cheapie. You know, I started off with Swiss Army and stuff like that. This is where this falls into. Once you start collecting like I am, this is just not it. So after a few wearings of this one, actually, and it's not there yet, but I felt a little bit of Bulgari Black. The hockey puck of the fragrance game. Bulgari Black's an amazing scent. However, Bulgari Black, the thing that's different from this is that it has a lot more nuances, beautiful nuances. And I would definitely recommend, if you like this, Bulgari Black may be a better suited fragrance for you. So at the end of the day, I just wanted to mention that a lot of people compare this to Armani Code, and I feel like more in the back end. This fragrance reminded me of Black a bit. Now let's get into Seasons, Day Night Versatility and Performance. Seasons, this is a tweener all the way through as a fragrance, and as far as Seasons goes, it is a tweener. It'll fit in those middle of the road seasons, spring and fall. Great for those seasons that really the temperature fluctuates to being cold to warm. This is one of those fragrances that I think will do well in those type of seasons. Day or night, I feel like this is a daily wear scent, more office safe. It's not the best suggestion for that. However, it will do the job. Versatility, average to high. Again, versatility for this type of fragrance would be, you know, it's one of those fragrances that doesn't stand out. So the versatility is there. Performance, longevity is 5 to 7 hours, which isn't that great. Again, this type of build, this type of scent, you want some longevity out of it. I was only getting 5 to 7, which is not bad. It's not the worst I've seen. But again, I'm looking for more of a 7 to 9 hour for longevity. And then projection was fairly average. And that's where this versatility of this fragrance kind of goes. It's not dark enough. It's not powerful enough for going out clubbing or something like that. And it won't project too much in the office, so you're not that guy. So my final thoughts on Zegna Forte is it's nothing new in the game. Does not stand out in the sea of fragrances that we see today. And we're looking at when this was launched back in 2010. There is better fragrances that have been launched around that time too. I think if you are brand new to fragrances, don't own anything, you're in a tiny budget, and you find this in a bargain bin at 20 bucks or lower, grab it. It's a pretty safe, decent scent to start things off. If you have over 5 fragrances, 10 fragrances in your collection already, this is a pass. I don't see this doing anything new for you. It could just be one of those fragrances. I feel like this one's either going to collect dust for you, or B, you're just going to throw it on when you don't really care. And why spend money on fragrance like that? I think this was Zegna's doing what designer brands do. Copy, paste, repeat. However, this DNA kind of made popular by Armani Code had its time. But now it's overshadowed by better scents. Even, you know, a scent like La Nuit de l'Homme will trump a fragrance like this, among others. There's several out there that are much better than this. Now I'm done with Zegna Forte. Time for you to hit us up in the comments below. What do you think of it? Looking forward to reading your comments, especially you, Chad. I don't know if you sent this to me as, you know, you love it. I can see Chad liking it. He has way different tastes than I do, and I don't mean that in a bad way. He does like fragrances that are much safer, we'll say. Now, at the end of the day, a great or poor fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.